have joined the Antisocial Network.
Yeah. Mask up, stay 6 feet apart.
Yeah, right.
Welcome once again to YeahUhHuh, available through the YeahUhHuh or the Antisocial Network and many other platforms. This week we are talking to Rick Sorenson. He is an artist and a Christian, and I think those seem to be the themes that most show up when we did our dive into Rick. So, Rick, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thank you for having me. I live in Boise, Idaho. Um, let's see, I went to art school because I always loved art. So that was a passion I had. And so I wanted to pursue it, even though there was no job waiting for me. I just wanted to learn things faster. And so that was, um, a love that I had.
Yeah.
So I grew up in a Christian home. My father was a pastor, but my parents always encouraged me to be creative, and they always encouraged me as I was pursuing art. So
Interesting.
in that way, my story is a little bit unusual from a lot of Christians that want to pursue the arts, because they don't always get the encouragement that I did.
Right,
Well, that's always nice.
Mhm.
But that's interesting. You said
Yeah.
that you pursued art. I know that when I was a young man and I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do in life, um, in school, I would take things that like particularly interested me and things that I wanted to pursue just out of my own intellectual curiosity. And so I'd be
Mhm.
heavy on history classes, and I took some art classes and literature and things like that. So I didn't have this sense of a means to an end like a lot of students,
Like a calling.
like maybe a counselor would have directed me to do. And I wound up, I wound up not getting a degree, although I do have what I consider to be,
Oh, you mean
a nice
college?
career. But that's interesting that you said that you kind of pursued your passions as a young man. And
Mm.
so how do you feel like that's kind of how's that turned out for you?
Uh, well, you know, when you're in junior high and high school, you're you're just taking the required classes like everybody. But my interest was always in art, so I was always, and I had a good teacher in junior high who taught us a Renaissance method of how to draw from observation. So um, in that way, as a kid, I began a mature journey fairly young, and everything I learned in college and in art school was built upon what I learned in seventh and eighth and ninth grade.
Mm-hmm.
So when I and then after high school, I went to 1 year college because that's what you're supposed to do.
Mhm.
And I had a great first semester history. I loved history. Then the second semester, just the teacher was just it was dry,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and I dropped out of that. And of course, I took art classes, and I'd skip some classes to go play racquetball or shoot pool. I was 18.
Right.
Yeah.
I had my priority. I had my priorities straight. I went to the classes I liked, and I skipped the ones I didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, I did that. But
Sounds
that
familiar.
was
Yeah.
from early on. I mean, I was doing that in elementary school. I was like, I don't like the teacher. Why should I try?
Yeah.
And that would really aggravate them because I wouldn't do the homework, but I'd get A's on the tests.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious about this Renaissance method that you mentioned,
Mhm.
because, like you said, a lot of times your success in a class is contingent on the talents of the instructor. It sounds like this was a kind of a integral part of your early art education, this Renaissance method. What was that exactly?
Well, I think you're right. Having a good teacher helps. And as I've looked back over, I've really come to appreciate the teacher that I had and how he didn't treat us as kids, but he expected us to do adult level work. So I think that's really a crucial thing. As far as how he taught us, the first class was putting a white ball on, a small table with the white paper under it, shut out all the lights, cover all the windows, and put one light source shining down at like a 45-degree-ish angle. And so then he taught us how to see what the light was doing on this simple object. And so he gave us a demonstration, and then for the next 2 weeks, we drew that ball.
Interesting.
In the same spot. He didn't move it. And so that began to teach us, one, how to see. And we were studying light. It's not just drawing this ball, but now we're studying the effects of light, how it hits the ball, how it bounces around, how it creates the shadows, the darkness and the lightness of the shadows. So we were learning how to observe the effects of light. And then he would add an object after that, like a bottle. And that was also white. So he kept everything simple so that we could actually see what was going on. But now adding an object, now you're having to, like, he called it measuring. I've seen the term sighting. But basically what you're doing is you're taking a small unit and you're seeing how many of those small units go into the larger whole, even to the edge of the bottle, to the edge of the ball, the outside edge.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not guessing anything. You're actually taking these measurements and you're seeing and you're reproducing accurately what you're seeing in front of you.
Interesting.
And I feel, in my experience, perspective and shading, and shadow, if you want to, whichever way you want to go with that, are two kind of fundamentals.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. And so I'm just describing how you're both able to accurately depict objects by measuring a small unit against larger units. And then now that you have this in place, then you're able to now put in the effects of light in the darkness and the lightness of shadows, how the shadows cross each other, how the shadow on the bottle may touch on the ball or it may not. And so you're seeing all of these relationships that are happening. And it's even with something simple, it becomes, you're not just drawing the shadows, but you're now observing light itself and what it does.
Yeah.
So it becomes more exciting.
You can. It reminds me of some of the images.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just saying that was the basic things that were taught at the beginning.
So it reminds me a little bit of some of the images we're getting from like the Artemis 2 mission right now. Where you see the image of the Earth in the background with the shadow of the moon that crosses over, and it's such a sharp delineation. And it's almost like a what you're talking about.
That's just it on a bigger scale.
Yeah, it's like a microcosm of these lunar images that we're getting, and also the mathematical aspect of it. That's probably very much in tune with what you say. The Renaissance, like the Sistine Chapel, Da Vinci, their method of painting was probably shaped by those types of observations.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm inspired by
that's exactly right.
Like art, like Mary Warnos, and the colors, the bright colors. I want to do a Mary Warnos room.
You're talking about Mary Warnoff.
Just
Mary Warnoff.
Warnoff?
I think so.
Okay.
Warnos, I think, was the actual serial killer the female
Oh,
serial
okay.
killer.
Well, then whoever it is who does the art and hang out with Andy Warhol.
Yeah. Mary Warnoff was the,
Oh, okay.
remember the episode of Charlie's Angels where they go to prison and there's the evil female warden,
Yeah.
or Rock and Roll High School, the evil principal lady. That's Mary Warnoff. She was a member of
Okay.
Andy Warhol's factory, and she's
Well,
an
I'm sorry I
artist.
used the wrong name,
That's
but
okay.
I would
All
like
right.
I would feel very inspired in a room that was basically Mary Warnoff style with colors.
Yeah.
I also like
Mhm.
Mondrian.
Sure.
Those are things that appeal to me. I don't like the Impressionist because if I take my glasses up and look outside, the world is an Impressionist painting.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So in
Well,
that
in
respect,
a sense that,
it just doesn't appeal to me.
well, sure, but even with Mondrian, he he started out kind of inspired by the Impressionist, and
Mhm.
there's a famous series that he did of a tree where he breaks it down from a realistic, and each one is getting more abstract, and that's kind of what led him eventually to the the box of colors that he did
Right.
at the end.
Right.
But even
Right.
those are abstractions of reality that he broke down to the most basic lines and shapes.
Mhm. Yeah, and I like the simplicity of geometric.
Yeah.
That I don't know why that appeals to me more than other things, but it does.
Hmm. Well, yeah, I remember when I was in school and I'd get bored, I'd start just drawing out gibberish on my notes pad, just shapes and things like that, and I'd color in one, and it's almost like the rhythm of your mind, it's like
Hmm.
starts to take over.
Yeah.
But um, but let's talk a little bit about did you have artists who inspired you, or from the beginning, or was it sort of something that evolved, or um, had your own
It was a little bit
artistic
of both.
voice? Mhm.
So in middle school with the teacher that I had, he showed us a whole lot of stuff. Um, so this was, I'm old enough that um, in the what are, there was an exhibition of King Tut that came to the United States,
Yeah.
and
Like
so
late
he showed us,
70s.
yeah, late 70s or early 80s. Like I think it was late 70s. I think you're right. And so he showed us slides of that, which we were only later on did I really start to appreciate more what he showed us. But he was introducing these different objects to us so that it would get into us. And then he showed us sculptures of Michelangelo. He showed us oh, um, a lot of other artists. I can't think of off the top of my head. So, but for me personally, um, I was inspired at that time by Picasso. The abstraction that he was doing
Mm-hmm.
was, so we were learning realism, but we were, in classes because that's what you're depicting. But he also had us um, do assignments that were more ide- ide- ideological um, based. So you had to now bring this idea in to make it understandable to somebody else.
Hmm.
And so these two ways of approaching things were hitting us simultaneously. And so for me, Picasso helped me understand some of that. And so even when I would do stuff from my imagination of mixing realism to um, an abstract way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would
Then it
say,
was
just let me insert. I would personally say that Picasso should have his own category. You know, not
well,
just
he
abstract.
went through
It
several
should be
categories.
Picassoism. Well, yeah, but the more famous. I don't have a lot of art education. I'm not, you know.
Well, didn't Picasso start out with more life drawing, more realistic drawing, and it sort of evolved into
before he moved into the Cubist stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I
Yes,
think
that's
most
what he
artists
learned
do
from his
that.
father in Spain.
It's kind of like learning an instrument.
Well,
You have to walk before you run.
Right. Miles Davis had
you
to
have
play
to.
the chord progressions before you got into the true jazz, you know, that type of
Maybe.
thing.
Well, you have to know the rules before you break them.
Right.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, that's a great expression.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that's it. You know, my family. I have artists in my family, and my mother loved Van Gogh. Van Gogh was her thing. I don't know what.
We did get to bring her to the art exhibit, the Van Gogh art exhibit at the Cincinnati Museum when it came through.
Yeah.
And we also took her to that other one, the one with the seascapes.
Wyeth. No. Was it Wyeth? I think.
Could be. Wyeth. Wyeth.
The artist that did a series of paintings in Rhode Island of a family that lived in a seaside home.
Yeah.
Andrew Wyeth.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we took her to both of those exhibits. At the time, it was we didn't realize it with the first trip, but she was already dipping into Alzheimer's. With the second one, she was living with us because she wasn't able to take care of herself.
Sure.
So, you know, yeah.
So did you see when you took her to the first one, to Van Gogh, did you see her perk up anything?
Yeah.
A little bit more come out of
Well, she
that?
was we didn't realize, we knew she was getting forgetful, but we didn't realize how bad it was yet.
Yeah.
Until she was hospitalized for a bad infection, and when it came, she had to have rehabilitation, and at the rehab place they were like, yeah, she can't live alone.
Well, I think one of his most famous paintings was Bedroom at Arles, I think.
Right.
And there was a still life of that you could walk into the painting.
Oh,
didn't want to touch anything, but you could walk through the painting, and that really, she really liked that.
Yeah, and then who was it when we went? She was not with us anymore, but we went to one of those immersive things where you're surrounded. Was that Van Gogh or
AI?
Yeah,
I think that might have been a Monet exhibit.
Okay, Monet. Yeah, it sounds like yeah.
But it was kind of a gimmicky thing, but it was cool. It was cool.
Yeah. Cool.
Right.
I came back, and 2 months later, Lisa bought me an Oculus because that's what we had to pay to.
Yeah, there was an Oculus, and you could do it. You could follow up.
I couldn't stop talking about it, so she took the cue and bought me.
I got a really good deal.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, it's cool walking the streets and everything, but what if I could lift up something and find a clue to a game or something?
Yeah.
But so you grew up in a family of I guess advanced faith. Your father was a pastor. So what kind of challenges did you experience as an artist with your faith, if any?
Or inspiration from it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
It wasn't until I got older that some of that really occurred. Like I said, my parents were always encouraging to be creative. So that was never an issue growing up for me. It wasn't until I was in art school that I was going to a church, and I worked. So during art school, my time was very intense. I worked 2 part-time jobs, went to school full-time. So, my time was like nothing. But I went to this church, and there was a Bible study home group that I went to before I would go to work. I worked as a security guard and I worked at McDonald's. Those were my two jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And if I didn't have that security guard job, I did paintings
Hmm.
at that security guard job and wrote papers. So if I didn't have that, there's no way I would have made it through school.
Mm.
I hear you.
So I went to this Bible study before I went to um, go to work as a security guard. And to fulfill an assignment, a school assignment, then I would take my small drawing notebook and I would draw the coffee table, what was ever on the coffee table, just to fulfill this. So I would draw. I had my notepad in my lap and my Bible, and so I was participating in the discussions, and then I was drawing. And so for the times that I was a poor student, so if I didn't have money to go buy a big pad for my life drawing classes, then I would use that small notebook until I had the money.
Mm-hmm.
And so after like 2 years of being in this group, one day one of the leaders wanted to look at my notebook. Everybody's curious what's in an artist's notebook.
Mm-hmm.
I said, all right. So they were looking at it. They saw these figure studies. And then I had like this hour interrogation before I had to leave and go to work. And they was saying, how can you draw these nudes? Because if you're a Christian, you can't do that.
Hmm.
That's
And
stupid.
so
Sorry.
So coming against this morality, that's really more of a cultural morality than
Mm-hmm.
Right.
then I kind of had seen it before, but this was the first time it was personally, directed against
you.
me.
Mhm.
And so it really kind of opened my eyes about that. And I even put that scenario in my book. And that's not something that that's not the right way to both evaluate art, but then to evaluate the artist either.
Right.
Right.
To just kind of shut it down based on a
Right.
An ideal.
Yeah, it's
Now,
not really.
Yeah.
It's
Did you
really
break
not.
with that group, or did you?
No, I stayed there, and it was at these leaders' house that
Hmm.
the study was at. The pastor led the study at their house. It wasn't him leading it. And at
Right.
the time, I was just starting to really get to know the family. And so what this
Mhm.
did was it killed.
Yeah.
And
I can imagine.
but I didn't leave. It was sad to me that happened.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
I had to forgive them just so I could keep going on because
Right.
it was
Right.
upsetting to me.
Let me ask you this: the you that you are now, would you have sought a different source for your religious, continuation at that time? If you were you and that happened to the you that you are now, would you have been, I really appreciate you, I appreciate your opinions, but I'm going to have to find a better source to help me move forward religiously?
Well, no.
No?
The simple answer is no.
Mm.
Because it wasn't about them.
Mm. It was
In
about
that
him.
sense, you're making them. Yeah, it's not about them and how they interpret things.
Mm.
They had a short-sightedness,
Mm.
but it was about the. For me, I don't base my relationship on God to what other people say.
Mm.
So, in that sense, no,
Okay.
I wouldn't change what I'm doing. And so a lot of people would have been angry and left the
Right.
church, but I stayed there.
Hmm.
And as I've thought about it over the years, because every now and then I think about what happened,
Yeah.
that I think it was the right thing to do to stay there
Yeah.
for me.
Okay. Yeah, and
And
that's
and it
yeah.
challenged. Well, I think what it does is my staying does not it kept them from reinforcing their point of view,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
and
It was kind of like
and
a challenge
my
to your
being
faith,
there
then, I guess.
challenged. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. If I'm staying there and I'm doing what I feel I'm supposed to do, then that makes them have to now confront that.
Right.
Even if they don't, I'm still there, and so now you got to deal with it.
Right. Right. So you mentioned your book, and it's right. We're half hour in here. We should mention your book, and that is Art, the Church's Response. And you see a copy up there to your over your left shoulder.
Big red
Available.
art if you can't see anything else.
Yeah. So definitely wanted to get that in.
I like the cover.
Yeah. But
Oh, thank you. These are paintings I painted.
Oh,
Oh.
cool.
yeah, I was
Okay.
wondering if you had an example or two of your
Yeah.
art that you wanted to.
Do we want to show an example of
So
Mom's?
Sure, at some point.
Okay.
Yeah, we can do that. But
You could
but
yeah.
you know what you were saying just before we get to that, what you were saying about challenging your faith. That reminds me of a story. Lisa's father was Catholic,
He
and
was born he wasn't born Catholic. He converted in school.
mhm,
and
right.
he what was this? Because your mom, it would have been her
Oh,
second marriage.
my mother had been married before and she had a child when they met. My brother was 5 years old and
Mhm,
he had just turned 5 when they met, so it would have been right after February. And well, I think that's when they started dating because my father had been in love with my mother for a couple years, but she kind of was, I've got a kid, I'm not dealing with dating, I need to make
mhm,
money to survive at that point. And
sure.
so when he met my mother, when they went to get married, the church said, "Nope, we can't do it in the chapel. We could do it in the foyer because she's divorced."
Yeah,
And my father,
right.
everything that he had done for the church for like years. I mean, he converted when he was like 10 or 11. The rest of his family was not Catholic. But he converted to Catholicism around 10 or 11, and he had been very active in helping the church. He fixed things. He,
Like he does
was
for anything he
yeah,
signs
he
up
did.
for. He was
He
like
would
a
do anything. If they said we need somebody to fix the roof, Dad was on the roof.
including the
You know,
U.S. Marines, by the way.
right,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And so now he's out of the service. He's 27 years old. He wants to marry this lovely, wonderful woman whom he's madly in love with. Uh, and
Well,
I mean,
he came to this crossroads, same as
right,
Rick
right.
kind of
And
did.
he ended up breaking it. It broke his faith,
Yeah,
and he stopped
Yeah,
wanting to
right.
have anything to do with Catholicism to the point where we were basically raised like my mother was with no real religion, and none of us were confirmed. Nothing. Actually, my older brother was. No, he wasn't. His father was Catholic, and his grandmother, wanted him to be more active in the church, but they were like, no.
So people, there's no telling, like with
Right.
faith or faced with some sort of
Crisis of faith. Yeah.
how it's going to go. It's life altering. It can be.
But to be fair, I was a big
Well,
part of
it
why they
can
were
be.
married.
Mhm.
Wink. I think that was part of it too. My mother was visibly pregnant by the time they got married.
Yeah,
They got married
Sure.
in August, and I was born in October.
right.
And also, she was technically not fully divorced yet when they started dating.
So let me ask you this, Rick.
Mhm.
Do you think that the problems maybe that the church has with some of these life drawings and things like that is the notion that you're trying to be a creator. You're trying to create, you not just reflect life with your art, but the notion that only God can be a creator, and now you're trying to maybe that's the representations of the human body, that type of thing, is something that's God is the one that creates those things.
Um, I think you're kind of combining two different things. So yes, God is creator. That's what the first verse of the Bible. That's the first way God reveals himself to us, is in Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And so that's the first way that God reveals himself as creator. And so you're right. God is that. And then he said, let us make, a few verses later, let us make man in our own image. Part of that image, as we just learned in the first verse, is that we are also creators. So we have to create. Now, what is it we create? Now, that's where I think you're combining these two ideas. And so when we create something, how is it going to be evaluated? And so that's where the confusion comes in. And so, like in what happened to me, the way that it was looked at, my works, what my notebook was looked at was, it wasn't just an aesthetic evaluation, saying, oh, this is good or bad in how it was put together. But now there's a morality that's added to that.
Mm-hmm.
And this morality is one of the things that has turned people away from the faith. I think what you just related with your family, there was this cultural morality that was applied. And now there's the crisis of faith isn't so much because of something that's biblically true, but now it's a cultural application applied to these religious principles.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the confusion comes in,
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah,
That we're not. Yeah. So it's that even though the morality may be based upon something in the Bible, it's still like a wrong application.
Yeah. I see that. I see that. I was just wondering, I'm always struggling for different angles, and there's that term "holier than thou." You hear that? It's a cliche, "holier than thou." I think that kind of encapsulates what you're kind of talking about. That
Yeah.
it's not very thoughtful response to anything. And I'm always wondering if there's anything more behind, like shutting people down over this morality is something. Well, maybe religious people are thinking deeper. Maybe they're thinking that it's against, it's against one of the core responsibilities of God to represent, to create people on canvas.
I think at times it is. So there's a interesting scenario with Michelangelo that I think typifies this. If you remember seeing images of the Last Judgment by Michelangelo, which is in the Sistine Chapel.
Mm-hmm.
So about 3/4 of the way him, painting this, the Pope comes in with one of the cardinals with him. And so Michelangelo is working and they're coming and looking at this, and the Pope asks the cardinal, well, what do you think of it? Now, Michelangelo can hear what they're saying because, he's right there. And so this cardinal says, oh, it's disgraceful. All these nude figures that are only presentable for a brothel or a bathhouse, how can it be in a house of God? And so then they leave. This infuriates Michelangelo. he took offense at many things. He's very sensitive that way. And so what he did was he depicted this cardinal in hell.
Mm.
So where it's located is if you're facing it and you're looking at it, in the far lowest left hand or right hand corner, there's a figure with the snake wrapped around him.
Mm.
And it's right in the corner. So you can go look at it, a picture of it, and find it.
Interesting.
And so everybody knew, because he depicted the face so accurately, that it was this cardinal.
Hmm.
And so the cardinal threatened Michelangelo. He pleaded with him. Nothing moved Michelangelo. And so this cardinal complained, to the Pope. And the Pope asked him, where are you at? He said, in hell. And he said, well, I have the power to release people out of purgatory, but not out of hell. So that was the Pope's response to
I
him.
love that.
Wow. That's a
I
great
think
story.
I might have hung with that Pope.
Way to go, Mike.
Mhm.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So you can see this goes way back. It's not something that's new. This has been going on for centuries.
Yeah.
And, if even Michelangelo had trouble,
Yeah.
then,
Okay.
we're not as great as Michelangelo, but we're certainly not going to get unscathed by it.
Right.
Mhm.
And then
All this judgment.
this brings me to a quote from RuPaul. What other people think of you or say about you is none of your business.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great way of saying, who cares? Gossip, who cares what people say about you? Be you.
Of course, creative people have like a Michelangelo proved, they have a way that they can combat it.
Yeah.
Now,
Right.
what like medium of art do you prefer at this point? Have you ever done sculpture? Are you mostly? I know that you've mostly mentioned painting. So, but like, are we talking
Drawing and
watercolor,
painting.
oils?
I've done oils and acrylic. I can make acrylic look like oils, but you can also do watercolor techniques in acrylic.
Okay.
I've done sculpture. I've done clay. I've taught drawing and painting and clay as well.
Mhm.
3-dimensional design, graphic design.
Mm.
So I've done a lot.
Yeah, my sister-in-law
And,
does a lot of 3-dimensional paintings. His mother's an
Yeah.
artist, and she has actually sold paintings at the senior center. His sister is she's taught art. She works as an artist. She supports herself with art. And then his brother he was a mechanic, but he did art on the side, and he did sell some of his art when he was actively doing art.
right.
Yeah. It never held with
So-
me. The art bug never held with me.
No, but you're right.
Yeah.
You're more creative with words, like I am with like color and decoration. My mother once bought a dress, and we were trying to find shoes to match the dress, and she was like, I forgot to bring the dress, and I was like, it's that right there, that's the color, because she wanted to match the shoes to the dress. And it was, I mean, I had seen the dress once, but I was able
Right.
to say that color right there, take it. And
Yeah.
I was right, of course, and I was like 12, so Mom made a big deal about it.
Well, Aaron, what you got for Rick? You got any questions you want to?
No, I'm mostly just listening. I'm piping in when I have a question or a comment.
Okay.
Yeah, not an artist myself, but I work with a bunch of artists at a stop motion animation studio. And
Right.
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
Did you get a chance to break bread with them very much when you went to Portland? Did you get to?
Well, I got to talk to some of them and got some demonstrations. I didn't eat with them, if that's what you're asking.
Figure speech. But, yeah. Okay. Well, I wonder. So this is kind of this.
Personal.
You know, so a lot of artists, like some of the artists we know, actually, to be quite honest, they find inspiration in
Let's just say my
mind-altering
brother
substances, and let's not say your brother. I'm just, I
specifically.
know.
Hey, we
Um,
we keep it real.
um, you know, they find it mind-altering substances bring out their inspiration. I don't know what they, you know, I don't know what the chemical reaction in the brain or what kind of stimulus or synthesis takes place or whatever. But do you find that God is sort of that's your inspiration in that respect, and that it evokes this creativity or foments your creativity, your relationship with God?
Yeah, there's um yeah. So you know, we know the limits of our own abilities.
Mm-hmm.
And there's times that we go beyond that. The times that happen with me, then I very much feel like the Holy Spirit has entered into what I'm doing and taken me beyond the limits of where I know I am to where everything's easy. Thing, everything just flows, and I'm meaning that beyond the science of the idea of flow, where your body comes into alignment of your body, soul, and spirit. Everything is in alignment. And because you're now in this balance and alignment, then things just are easy. You hear athletes talk about that. You hear creative people talk about it. And the technical term is flow state when that happens. I'm meaning even beyond that, beyond this flow state where everything becomes easy to where you go beyond even that.
Yeah.
There's times that that's happened to me in a creative sense as I'm going. There's also times that happens in the sense that you're saying that there's inspiration and ideas come and you're going, oh, that is just an awesome idea. I should really begin to think about that. And those are like separate things that happen. And I think because you are now in this connection with the creator of the universe, who is creating, he put that in us, but he also connects that creativity of us to him. And I think there's this, you know, it's hard to put things into words when it gets to that point. There's just this connection that you go beyond. And those are the things that become exciting.
Kind of like Lincoln, didn't he write the Gettysburg Address in the carriage, like on his way to the address or something? And or Stairway to Heaven was
Or like
written
the Beatles
an hour and a
famously
half.
writing that one song like overnight.
Yeah, you hear this a lot of times. Artists they'll explain like a great piece of work, and they're almost like they're so reverent of it because they don't feel like they're entirely responsible for it. You know, that something touched
Inspired them.
Yeah.
Oh yes, you hear stories. Right, you hear stories like that all the time.
Yeah.
That things happen just like it's super short time, and it's like the greatest thing they ever did, and they don't know how it became the greatest thing they ever did.
Right.
Yeah, I've had experiences in like high school writing papers like that.
Yep.
Where it's like
where it just poured out.
It just went through me. It wasn't really
right. And then you probably had other papers that you sit there and pored over for hours and hours and wrote sentences and changed things, and the product wasn't nearly as
really as smooth.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I heard
perfectly formed.
Yeah, I was reading about Handel's how he wrote the Messiah. That he wrote it in 21 days,
Mm.
and he hardly ate or slept. That um, he felt like he was having to he saw everything in his mind, and he was basically just notating it down.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know, so when we hear that, we're still getting what he put down in the same way he put it down.
Right. It's locked in time. It's
Yeah.
frozen. It's a masterpiece. Just it's like frozen in time.
I would say the life that was put it in has carried on even to our times. We're experiencing that life of that work.
I remember there was an episode that, and I wasn't trying to say that there's a parallel between mind altering drugs and faith. That wasn't my
No,
point. My point was that
I mean that there is a connection historically.
it's just that,
Many religions used mind altering objects or substances to get closer to their
yeah.
religion.
Well, it reminds me of an episode
But
of Taxi where remember when Jim was doing the cookies, the famous Amos cookies, but the
Oh,
secret
yeah.
ingredient was THC,
Hmm.
and gave Alex a bunch of them to
Uh-huh.
take home. And Alex came back the next morning and was like, and he was like totally wired. and they was like, well, how's it going, Alex? How you feel? And he's like talking real fast and everything. And he's going, oh yeah, I stayed up last night. I wrote an opera, or I wrote. And he's like, he showed it to Jim, and it's like stacked like this. It's like he was totally inspired.
Mhm.
So that people are inspired by different things, but there may be a better avenue than something that can harm you.
Right, right. Especially if you're prone to addiction.
Yeah. That that there's maybe there are people out there. Uh, Religion doesn't always serve as the elixir for people that are troubled, but it is something. If you are troubled, maybe something you can look at. If you've never had before. But so I saw from a previous podcast that you did have an interest in classical music, and it got me to thinking about the way that music interacts with art. And I had to look it up. I didn't know what this was called, what this phenomenon was called, but it's called chromesthesia. So it got me to thinking about our Elite Eight. So I'm gonna play a little video here about what is called
Chromesthesia.
chromesthesia, and let's see. And this is going to eat into our time for a minute. So let's see.
Is this like a 2-minute video about,
Yeah, I don't think
on
we have.
a how-to video?
I don't think we have time for it.
No, not
So
if we're going to do.
let's go ahead and just do the Elite Eight. And the idea of chromesthesia is a sound to color synesthesia, a neurological phenomenon where auditory stimuli automatically and involuntarily trigger visual perceptions such as colors, shapes, and movements. So with that in mind, you can either use that as your criteria or just whatever one of these musical pieces you prefer. And we're going to do the Elite Eight of famous classical pieces that is steeped in art. And so, Lisa, you want to be the MC since you
Yes,
don't know them all?
thank
Maybe.
you.
Okay.
Okay. Flight of the Bumblebee by Rimsky-Korsakov versus William Tell Overture by Rossini.
Which one of those do you prefer, Rick? Whether it's chromesthetically inclined or just whatever.
I actually like both of them, so it doesn't matter to me. Maybe Flight of the Bumblebee because that's a little bit different.
That's the whole thing. You have to pick one.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do Flight of
Like a
let's
Ginger
do Flight of
Mary
the Bumblebee.
Okay.
I'm with you on Flight of the Bumblebee, and I think I first got turned on to it when growing up in Cincinnati, we had a a minor league hockey team called the Stingers,
Oh yeah.
and that was like their theme music.
Oh, that's
Oh,
awesome.
cool.
The
Yeah.
Stingers were highly
I was
popular, very popular. one
Yeah,
time.
they made us go to one of the symphony, children's symphony thing every year. You had to
Mhm.
go to 2 a year with your school, and that was so much fun for me. But Flight of the
Yes.
Bumblebee was one of the ones that I actually liked.
Yeah. All right. What's
Which
our
I
next
also
one?
remember. I also remember going as a elementary school kid to symphony like that.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
and
Okay.
very few songs can put. Right, I called it a song. I guess it's a song. Very few pieces of music can put the
And
idea in your head like that puts the idea of a bumblebee zipping around.
yeah,
Right.
it really
Yeah,
does.
exactly.
You
You
can
hear
picture the bumblebee.
Hmm.
buzzing around your
Yeah.
ear. Yeah.
Yes.
Hun, what was your vote?
Right.
I'm gonna agree with them.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's a sweep.
Yep.
Okay. Toreador Dawn Bizet by Bizet versus Hallelujah Chorus by Handel.
Well, since I mentioned Handel, we might as well play Handel.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Toreador. I think
Done.
some
Hun.
Bugs Bunny turned me onto that one.
Yeah. That's a tough one because I really do love Carmen.
Mhm.
That is a really. But I'm gonna go with the Hallelujah chorus. Also, it's like one of the earliest surviving orchestral pieces, and it's using holidays and everything. I'm gonna go with the Hallelujah chorus. Okay, Lise.
The Rite of Spring by Stravinsky. At least I can pronounce the names. I do have that much education. Uh, versus Fifth Symphony by Beethoven.
Hmm.
I'm gonna
Well-
go.
I guess Beethoven.
I'm gonna go Stravinsky.
Wow.
Philip, once again.
Frank Zappa's favorite composer, and Zappa's my favorite American composer.
There you go. Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm feeling lighter. If I was in a different mood and I was more of in a brooding mood or
You might go
dark
a different
mood, I
way.
might go with Beethoven. I'm gonna go with Stravinsky also.
Okay, so
Yeah,
Stravinsky.
it's an
was one.
interesting
Well,
contrast. You got
of course-
death knocking on the door versus spring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Though, this caused controversy in Paris when it was first played.
Hmm.
People were shouting at it,
Right, it's
saying,
spring.
"This isn't music."
Yeah,
Yes.
So different, so discordant.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So many
Mhm.
artists are not appreciated until they're gone.
Yep.
It's fascinating. But I mean, I feel like maybe it's a situation like when we were going from the 50s to the 60s. The youth appreciated the new stuff, and the older people were kind of set in their ways.
Yeah.
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 All right, Lisa. What we got?
Okay. The Planets by Holst versus Symphony Number 40 by Mozart.
I'll go first. 'Cause that way, maybe Rick might be the last one this time because
so we're always making him
All
go
right.
first.
we've made him go first
Make him
three times.
do a tiebreaker.
So I'm gonna go with
another tiebreaker. I don't know.
I'm gonna go with Mozart for the same.
Yeah.
I mean, Mozart's my favorite. It's the most florid, most
Florid or floral?
florid.
Fluoride.
But it's more, I just love Mozart because it's so filled with notes, in my layman's musical understanding, you can just hear the run of the notes and it's so sophisticated and yet so beautiful. And this is one of his most famous works. So I'm going to go with Mozart.
Yeah, I'm Mozart on this one too.
Rick?
Yeah, I was kind of leaning towards Mozart as well.
Okay.
This one's a sweep.
Okay. So, the final four. Okay. Flight of the Bumblebee or Hallelujah Chorus?
Aaron, why don't you go first?
Oh, they're
For me, it's Bumblebee.
so different.
Yeah, Hallelujah chorus is just too simple. A little bit for. I like
Well,
the
you're
weird.
just-
I like
You're
the weird,
isolating the
weird,
one.
complicated Stravinsky stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. What
Yeah,
you,
I can hear you listening to Travinsky while reading Vonnegut.
or
I don't know.
listening to Zappa playing Stravinsky, reading Vonnegut.
Okay.
Or inspired by Stravinsky. Yeah.
Mhm.
What about you, Rick?
Um, in a sense, it depends on your mood. I guess my mood is a
Mm.
bit
Yeah.
more fun right now. So, Bumblebee.
Bumblebee.
All right.
Hun?
So I'm gonna throw in the Hallelujah chorus, but Bumblebee moves on, right? So
Yeah, I was gonna say Bumblebee. Right.
it's a fun one,
Mm.
and I didn't know that about the Stingers, but that's cool. Robbie wasn't Robbie for Torque? Didn't he go on to be an NHL Hall of Famer? He's
Maybe.
one of, I think he did. He was a Stinger.
During my fan heyday, Rick Dudley was the star of the team.
I mean, I was in kindergarten when that was going on. All right, Lise, what's the
Okay, so now we've got Rite of Spring up against Symphony Number 40.
Stravinsky versus
It's a
Mozart?
tough one. Yeah. Very different again.
Well, I'll go Mozart.
I'll go Stravinsky and force a tiebreaker on Rick.
All right. That's
Poor
the spirit.
Rick.
This is for the championship here.
I guess I was leaning a bit more towards Mozart.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
Mozart.
Objectively, Mozart's probably better, but I wanted to make the tiebreaker.
You gremlin.
Okay, Mozart. All right, so here, this is this is for the championship right here. Flight of the Bumblebee versus Mozart.
Ooh.
So Flight of the Bumblebee versus Symphony Number 40.
Yeah,
I want to go Bumblebee.
I'm gonna go Mozart.
Yeah. I guess I'll go
Yep.
Bumblebee.
Oh,
Okay.
Bumblebee takes it.
Too. So
All right, Flight of the Bumblebee is the winner of the mini bracket.
Do any of those
Alright.
make anybody see any colors or?
I actually
synesthesia?
kind of see the bee.
I can see the pattern
So
of
in
the
that
bee.
respect,
Well,
yeah.
I can imagine the bee, but
Yeah.
it's not.
Right.
That's just because they're making bee sounds.
Right.
Right. I don't know if it's
But they do it
chromesthesia or
so
not.
well
Yeah.
that it's almost
Yeah, but it's not like, oh, this is making me see, yellow or whatever.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't have that.
Well, I mean, I
talent like
see
that.
the colors of the bee, but there's no synesthesia for me.
Well,
Blue.
it was an ambitious
I just
attempt.
tossed yellow out as a random example. I should have picked something that
Yeah.
wasn't on a bumblebee.
Right. Well, yeah, but I mean, yeah, it doesn't. I've never dealt with chromesthesia, but I do have an auditory thing where sometimes I'll turn out the lights because they feel loud.
All right, we got less than 2
So,
minutes here,
this
Rick.
is
How
weird.
can we see your
Mhm.
work or get hold of
And,
you?
and get your
or,
book.
Yeah, get your
Yeah.
book.
Well, you can get my book on Amazon. And then I write on Substack kind of about the nature of creating and aesthetics. Not necessarily from a religious point of view, just more trying to understand the nature of creating.
Love it.
Right.
And the title of your book again?
The title of my book is Art, the Church's Response.
Okay.
I wrote it because a friend told me I needed to write a book on art for Christians. So
There you go.
this is it.
Mhm.
Outstanding. Yeah, man, I think this has been a really
Yeah.
good conversation. Really
Yeah,
enjoyed
it's
it,
a lot of fun.
and would love to have you back sometime.
Can you stay for
Yeah.
just a second after we stop recording?
Congrats to
Yes.
Flight of the Bumblebee.
All right.
Yep.